All right. Hello, everybody. Today is June the 8th, 2022. And today is a very special day because it was 25 years ago today that I got saved. I really wasn't a genuine Christian till that day. And I grew up in a Christian church, and I grew up with my parents, but I kind of went astray. So it was 25 years ago today that I got saved at Central Assembly of God in Springfield, Missouri, June the 8th, 1997, 1 week before Father's Day. It was a Sunday night, and I remember that evening very, very well. It's a night I won't forget. It's also a good idea to ask anyone who claims that they're a Christian. A good question to ask them is, tell me about the day you got saved and what led up to your salvation. Tell me about it. If they can't pinpoint the exact day that they got saved, they're probably not saved. Because it's an event. It's a night you don't forget. I mean, it's life-changing, right? So how can you possibly forget a night like that? You can't. I will remember that night forever. And so, like I said, ask them to tell you the story. How they came to Christ. How they got saved. It's not a bad idea to ask someone that, because you just don't forget that. It's like the day you get married. You don't forget your wedding anniversary, right? You shouldn't forget the anniversary of the day you got saved and forever changed your life and transformed your life. And that's what happened to me. So tonight we're going to, very quickly, I don't want this video to be too long, I'm going to tell you the story of what led up to it, the story of my fall and my redemption. So, because I don't want to go into I'm going to tell you the story of how I fell first, because that's important. And like I said, ask someone to tell you about the day they got saved, because it's life-changing. Like, you don't forget your wedding, right? That's life-changing, right? I'm just saying, if someone is truly saved, they will tell you about that day that they received Christ as their Savior. They will tell you about that day they got saved. They will never forget it. It was life-changing. It was transforming. And they'll be more than happy to share their experience at the altar and what led up to it. So, here's my story. We're going to start with 1995. Let's start there. You don't need to know my whole life story, but I'm going to just share what is relevant to this story. So, it was 1995, and I met this girl. We'll call her Michelle. That's not her real name, but for privacy's sake. So, I met this girl, Michelle, and we were co-workers. And then I thought she was a cutie, you know. My military career was over, and so I was a civilian, or transforming into it. And so I thought, I'll ask this girl on a date, right? Every fiber in my being said, don't ask this girl on a date. I thought, but she's good looking, man. She's hot. She's a real cutie. And but all my instincts were saying, no, no, no. Stay away. I didn't listen. I didn't listen to my gut instincts. I didn't listen to my parents either, because they really weren't impressed by her. My own sister was not impressed by her. So we met. We went out on a date. Where did we go? I think I took her to Studebaker's. That was the name of the bar at the time. Yeah, we went to Studebaker's. That's right. That's where we went. And so after that, I forget where I took her, but I do remember taking her to Studebaker's at the time. We dated for a little while, and then I did something else very, very foolish. I asked her to move in and live with me. Now, at the time, she was going through a divorce with her second husband. That should have been a red flag right there. But did I listen to my gut instincts? No. And all the time I was thinking, and my dad said this to me, if this person is willing to cheat on their spouse to be with you, they will cheat on you. That is a fact. I didn't listen. And I learned my lesson the hard way. So we moved in and we lived together. Well, after we moved in and lived together, which was wrong, my parents, they weren't too thrilled about that either. And things just went downhill from there. And then I find out that she really was cheating on me with another guy while I was off at work. Because every time I would leave for work, I had this uneasy feeling in my spirit. I had this feeling that something didn't feel right. Something was very wrong. I felt like she was cheating on me, and she was. I mean, because she confessed it to my sister. So my feelings, my gut feelings, were absolutely correct. Because I never had peace when she was living with me. I never had peace at all. None. And then she just upped and moved out. And she really broke my heart, because I was really in love with this girl. And I also made a lot of mistakes along the way. I was the guy, the dumb simp. Let's see, I gave her cards, flowers, candy, stuffed animal. I did all that. I said, I love you, and I always, before you know it, I was talking about getting married. I'm going, when I look back, and I'm going, what was I thinking? I must have really been stupid, which I was. I was thinking with the brain that gets men in trouble. Let's got to keep this family friendly, but let's put it this way. I'll admit it, I was thinking with the wrong brain. I was not thinking with this brain up here. The other one. The one that gets men in trouble. We all know that one. But my life just went downhill. Just totally downhill. And so she moved out and got her own apartment, and she started to see this other guy. And so I was just heartbroken. I did a lot of dumb and stupid stuff. I was so heartbroken. I wasn't thinking straight. I took 14 bottles of pills. I went and I got drunk. I can remember the bar where I got drunk at. What was it called? The Juke Joint over at the square. That's where I went and I got myself drunk. And so I just wanted to feel sorry for myself. And I remember the name of the band that was playing that night. The name of the band was Blue Moon Ghetto. It's amazing how I can remember some of these details 25 years later. It has been 25 years since a lot of this crap went down. Well, maybe 26. because this is now 1996, and I got saved in 97. So it's been 26 years since a lot of this stuff went down. My life just went into a living hell, and from the summer of 96 on, I was just living in darkness. I hadn't lost everything yet, but I just kept on feeling sorry for myself, and I just kept on going downhill. I just couldn't seem to stop. Then Michelle worked at Maranatha Village. This is an important part of the story. And that's where she worked. And ironically enough, another person came out of Maranatha Village, a pastor who pastored the chapel there. He's from the chapel. There's a chapel at Maranatha Village. And I think his name was Lonnie. I think. It's been a lot of years, but I think that was his name. He's kind of tall and skinny. He wore glasses, and he was from Central Assembly, but he was the chaplain over at Maranatha. And he came to visit me, and we struck up a friendship. And now let's go into 1997, because 1996 to 97, there's not much to say. I just lived in darkness. There's been a couple of suicide attempts. I'm not denying that. I mean, my heart was broken. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I was a good little boy. No, I was not a good little boy. I was feeling sorry for myself, 100%. Okay, I'm trying to keep the story in chronological order. We're now in 1997, and the pastor from Maranatha, the chaplain anyway, befriended me. What a coincidence, because Michelle worked there. I thought that was a strange coincidence. So we became friends, and eventually he invited me to church, and sometime around, it was June the 8th. Today is the 25th anniversary of that. I attended church that Sunday night. He took me there, and I was already in a very bad place. I just didn't see any way out, and so I felt, okay, I'll ask God to forgive me for my sins, and because at the time I didn't feel like that I deserved anything. I felt that I was so bad, and so I remember going to the altar that night, and I kept saying, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve it. I'm a really, really bad person. I felt like I didn't deserve God's forgiveness. I felt like, man, I can't be forgiven for what I did. I can't be forgiven. And that was my feeling that night. And so I went to the altar, and tears were just gushing down, and I kept saying, I can't, I don't deserve this. I don't deserve to be forgiven. And then someone laid their hand on me. I felt this presence. Someone laid their hand on me, and I felt this warmth of love. I felt something I'd never felt before. It overwhelmed me. It overtook me. And I was trying to peek around to see who it was. And it wasn't Lonnie. It wasn't the pastor of Central Assembly. And everybody was praying with me. And yeah, that's it transformed my life because He forgave me for everything I did. Everything I did, I was forgiven. When I got up and looked around, there was nobody there. So it was a spiritual encounter. God laid His hand on me that night. I mean, there was nobody else there because I peeked around. I knew where the pastor was. I knew where Lonnie was. But the third person laying hands on me, it was, as soon as we were done praying, I turned around and there was nobody there. I swear. I was like, yeah. And even the pastor says, the good Lord came and laid His hand on you. Personally, that night. And so, I never forgot that. Now, after that night is when my life really fell apart. You think, well, your life got better, right? Wrong. Things got much worse after I got saved. I lost my job. My relationship to my parents fell apart. So I kind of lost everything after that. Everything just fell apart after I got saved. I just went further into darkness. Now I know what you're saying. So you got saved, you're supposed to be going into the light. How can you be going into the darkness? I don't understand that. How could your life get worse after you got saved? Well, when I look back on it, it's God's way of putting me through the fire. Of taking this chunk of coal and turning it into something better. Sometimes you need to be chastised. Sometimes God will just put you through a very, very trialing time to test your faith. Okay? You're saved. Let's see if you're truly saved. Are you? So he'll shape you. He'll mold you. He'll put you through the fire. The fiery furnace. Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But He was right there all that time. So while I went through another year of darkness after I got saved, because my job disappeared, I had no job, I had no friends, my relationship with my parents at that point fell apart. I forgot what caused it to fall. Because I felt they betrayed me to Michelle. Because child support had come after me. That's right. I got a visit from the sheriff. And child support tried to garnish my wages, so I lost my job. Right on Father's Day. Right after I got served with child support papers. What a coincidence. Strange, but true coincidence. I kid you not. So, I just decided to, I had a savings account, so I was living off my savings for a while. I mean, I wasn't broke, I wasn't penniless, but I didn't have any friends either. I had no social status, to say the least. So I had nothing. And I remember my mother writing me a letter. I still have that letter in storage somewhere because I came across it a few weeks ago. And I just didn't speak to my parents for a while because I felt betrayed by them, even though they left me a love letter saying we didn't betray you and we didn't sell you out. But I remember child support coming after me. And then I met this guy who claimed to be a lawyer, and I said, well, I'm in trouble with child support. I'm in real trouble. And I brought this on myself. I really did. I really thought, man, I'm going to be paying forever. My life is ruined. I don't even have a job to pay child support. What am I going to do? And the attorney says, you know, the state law says you are entitled to challenge it. I said, what? Yeah, you are entitled to challenge it free of charge. That's your right. You need to go down to the child support enforcement office and challenge it. Get a DNA, get a paternity test. It is your right, or you will be paying for the next 20 years. So he explained what my rights were, and I trucked on down there, did a DNA, and by the skin of my teeth, they let me go. Because it's got to be 98.0 or above for them to collect, because the attorney spelled it out. Anything below 98.0, they have to let you go. It could be 97.99 and they got to let you go. You're free. They can't do anything. And then so I went down, got the paternity test, and then my attorney said, I want you to take this document and put it in your safe deposit box. You can't lose it. That's a very valuable piece of paper, because they could come after you again. They're not supposed to, but they could try. Always keep that piece of paper on hand if Michelle and her family decide to come after you, because that piece of paper, he said, is worth about at least $250,000 to $500,000. That's what the settlement would be. So he said, hang on to that. Lock it up. Make copies of it. And I did. I went down and it was Kinko's at the time, and made copies. I made 10 copies of it. I ran them off. I was so afraid. Kept the original in a safe deposit box, as my attorney suggested, and any man, if you're going through a paternity test, it comes out you're not the father, you keep that document. I tell you what, that was a priceless document, and I did. I think I still have it somewhere, but it's been 25 years. I'm not worried now, but for many years I held on to that document. It stayed in that safe deposit box at the bank for years. When it was Metropolitan National, then it changed hands, and now that bank doesn't even exist anymore. They knocked it down recently. But I kept it in the bank, and that probably saved my life financially. Well, about a year later, we're fast forwarding to 1998, and now the story is about to have more of a happy ending, because the next few events are almost unbelievable, and it's like a light switch had clicked on. You know, I cannot click. You go from living in darkness, and what am I going to do? Because I had nothing. And so one day, somewhere around March or April of 1998, I went to McDonald's. I think I'm going to go to McDonald's. I'm going to have a quarter pounder. While I was there was this cute young girl. Her name was Carlene, and that's her real name, by the way. I don't remember her last name. I think she had a Polish name. I don't know. It's been so many years, I don't remember anymore. But because I always called her Carlene, I never called her by her last name. So, I was just having a quarter pounder, just sitting there, and we started a conversation. I was talking back and forth, and next thing you know, I'm asking her on a date. I said, would you like to go to the fair with me? And remarkably, she said yes. Okay, I'm going to pause for a second. Don't. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'll merge these two videos together. I was at McDonald's having a quarter pounder, and I met this girl Carlene, and we started talking. Next thing you know, I'm inviting her to the fair. I don't mean to repeat myself. I stopped this video and restarted it. And I'm going, I just invited this young girl to the fair, and she said yes. I'm going, oh crap, I don't even have a car. I don't even have a job. I have no friends to speak of, no family, no social status. What was I thinking? I mean, I had nothing to bring to the table. Absolutely nada. Not a thing. I had nothing to bring to the table. And she said yes. For some reason, she took me in. A world-class loser. And I was a total loser. So her mom took us. And we had a good time. And she brought us home. And what I'm going to say is going to sound unbelievable. This all happened within a 2-week time span after I met Carlene. Next thing you know, none of this is what I'm about to, it's so unbelievable. It's like I lived in darkness and a light switch would click on, right? I get a knock on the door, and the one that fired me, hired me back. And they said, we really need you and we'd like you to come back to work. And they never apologized for firing me to begin with. That apology never came. And I'm like, wow, I got a job again. I don't have to live off my savings. And so I got my job back. I got a girlfriend now. Her name was Carlene. I don't know what she saw in me because I had no car, no job, no friends, no family. I had nothing. Nothing. Sometimes people, sometimes it's got to be a God thing. It had to be. So I listen to these other podcasters and I talk to guys who say they can't get a girlfriend. And these other guys will tell you, you know, these are all the things you have to do to attract a woman. I grew up believing this. Like, there's a reason we're on the football team, on the honor roll, on the dean's list. We joined the fraternity. Why? To get the chicks. If we're wearing a leather jacket, our name's on the honor roll, our name's on the dean's list in college, we're in the right fraternity, right? We're sitting at the cool kids table, right? These are all the things we were taught. If you do all these things, get good grades, get accomplishments, you'll get the chicks, right? You'll get girls. We get girls talk to you. Then it's based on what you did and what you brought to the table. When I met Carlene, I had nothing to bring to the table. It's what God brought to the table. Not me, God. I want you to have that clear understanding. So when I met Carlene, it was a God thing, 100%. He gets all the credit, all the glory. I get none of it. Because it wasn't of my own accomplishments. I had nothing. I was a loser. I had nothing to bring to the table. So I met Carlene. So now I was dating again, back in a relationship. A good one, I would think, because it lasted about 5 years off and on. We stayed good friends. I think she lives in Chillicothe today. So then within a few days later, I got my job back. I mean, they literally knocking on my front door. I didn't go to them. They came to me. I kid you not. I kid you not. I mean, it was over a year after I was fired, and they come knocking on my front door. True story. So, okay, now I'm working again. Now I got a job again. And, so I was sitting at home, and it felt good to be back in the saddle. But then I had this strange notion to call my dad, because I had no relationship with my family at all. Not even my brother and sister. My relationship fell apart. I had this strange feeling to pick up the phone and call Dad. I have not spoken to my dad or any member of my family in over a year. So I picked up the phone, and oh man. I picked up the phone and talked to my dad. Oh crap. I gotta stop this video again. Be right back. Okay. Where was it? Oh, okay. Sorry, that's the second time I had to stop the video. That's okay, I'm going to merge the 3 videos together. Now, I left off where I picked up the phone. I had this strange notion to call my dad. So I did. Picked up the phone and called my dad. And Dad says, your mom's in the hospital. And we don't think she's going to make it. So, she's very, very sick. And I thought, oh my gosh. So, I quickly got dressed, put on a good suit, and went up to there to see my mom. Because I didn't want to lose my mom without telling her how much I loved her. Because at the time I had no relationship to my parents. And like I said, I had this strange notion to pick up the phone and call Dad. I don't know what possessed me to do that, but I'm glad that I did. It had to be, again, God was intervening in my life, saying, Jeremiah, pick up the phone and call your dad. You need to talk to your dad. Has this ever happened to you? Have you had the strange notion to do something and you're glad that you did? Because I'm glad that I did. Because when I picked up the phone, I called my dad. And he said, your mom's got diabetes real bad. She's in the hospital. And so I went there and told my mom that I loved her. And that day, my relationship to my family was restored. That day. So I got my job back. I got my family back. I had a girlfriend again. Now, the next part, after I thought, man, I was feeling real thankful. Man, I got everything in my life back. My life was being put back together like a light switch. It clicked on, right? So I got on my knees and I said, okay, God, thank you for restoring my life. But, you know, I'd like to have a car. I didn't just want any car. I wanted a Jeep. I was very specific what kind of car I was praying for. I still had plenty of money in savings. So I said, God, I would like to get a Jeep. So 3 days later, my brother and I were at this car lot, and tucked in behind these other cars there was this Jeep. And the guy says, we asked the guy how much he wanted for the car. He said, well, he wanted $2,500 and I offered $18. That's what I had in my savings account. I had a little bit more than that, but I offered $1,800 in cash. He accepted it, and we bought the car that day. Now, this car, when I bought it, was a Barbie Mobile 100%, because whoever owned it had to be a female. It was pink with dark pink polka dots. I kid you not, white hubcaps. It was a Barbie Mobile. It was embarrassing just getting it home. So the first thing we did was change the hubcaps. The next thing we did was repaint it, changed its color, changed the internal, put in a sound system, and it got a total transformation. You would never knew what it looked like. We should have kept the before and after photos. I wish we had, but we didn't. But I wish we did. So, after praying, asking God for a car, a very specific one, God answered that prayer. Why? Why did He give me a car when I didn't deserve it? I don't know. God was really doing things that He was really moving in my life at that time. So I got everything back. I mean, I now had a job, a car, I had family, and I was making new friends. So my social status was making a comeback. All within a 2-week time. It's like a light switch was clicked on. You know what I'm saying? Clicked on. And that's my story. That of how I got saved, what happened after I got saved. You may think getting saved was going to change. It will change your life, but that doesn't mean your life is going to get better. You may go through trials and tribulations, and then when God's ready to bring you out of there, once He shaped you and molded you, then great. So it pretty much had a happy ending, and that's pretty much the majority of the story. I don't think there's anything more I can add, because it was 1998 and my life had totally made a comeback. And that's basically the whole story right there. The 25th anniversary of how I got saved, what happened after I got saved. And I didn't mean to get emotional, but some of the story is. And so, well, that's it for this story. Thanks for tuning. Oh, and by the way, comment below whatever platform you're watching this on, Facebook or YouTube. I'm gonna open up a Rumble account, so I may put this on there too. Whatever platform you're watching this on, comment below, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and those comments are powerful. And share this video. This is a story I think needs to be told, and it's my testimony, so you also have my permission to share it. And so share it with as many people as you want to. Oh, man, sorry about that. But anyway, share this video, comment below. You know what to do. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.